Thank you so much for joining me here and my awesome guest who I've been wanting to meet with for a long time, but he's very busy. I just want to read a little bit about him and then we're going to welcome him and hear his journey. But Rey Ortega is my guest today. He is a pioneer in the plant based sector with over 30 years of experience. In '94, he founded the Alternative Baking Company, one of the first vegan cookie brands on the market, which generated 1 million in sales in 1995. In '97, he also founded the Sunflower Baking Company to create new flavors, tastes, textures, and nutrition products with a longer shelf life and higher profit margins. Sunflower Baking Company produces raw and baked gluten-free cookies free of animal products, which I love. And it also provides co-packing product development, consulting, testing, nutrition facts, graphic design, and wrapping in small batches. Clients include Continental Airlines, Sodexo, Marriott Food Service, and Whole Foods. The company supports Farm Sanctuary, the American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, ASPCA, and the Defense of Animals. Rey owned Garden to Grill, a vegan restaurant, for 5 years with extensive knowledge across the entire product life cycle. He's an experienced formulator within the industry, and he's designed 3 facilities and has sold millions of vegan cookies, keeping eggs and dairy out of the mouths of many, which we appreciate. And besides owning 5 plant-based brands, he has also published 2 children's books and is an expert at cannabis infusion for topical and edible products. That is quite a biography. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much. I was going to summarize it, but I'm like, everything's important. And that's not even including your vegan journey. So
Oh,
welcome and thank you for joining us.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And I think one of the things that I loved about you was your content. It was so, it was so well done. You know,
Oh, thank
your
you.
YouTube stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I want
Really?
to know this
Oh,
person. You
that makes
know,
me feel good because
did
I
you
didn't
do
know.
that? I was like, wow. And that thing that you just read, Sandra really compiled, and she did a good job because I may be an expert at cookies and stuff like that, but Sandra is really polishes me up.
Well, she
She's
made it
really fun.
sound great, but you did it all. So thank
She
you,
makes me
Sandra,
look
for
good.
putting that together. Welcome, Tessa, to the live stream. We have our guest or our commenter here. She said, JJ. Hello,
Yay!
welcome. And so I guess what I usually start these with is because we're all curious, how did you get started on like becoming vegan? Were you already vegan as a child, or is this something
Oh,
that you
I
kind
wish.
of developed?
I wish I was a vegan as a child so much. You have no idea how I look back now. It's been 30 years, but I look back now and it would have been impossible for me to be vegan as a child as badly as I wanted. I would just love to be. And reason because of my culture, if I didn't eat what was on my plate, basically I would have been my dad didn't spank me or anything like that, but I would have been said, "You better eat what's on your plate." You know what I mean? And that was full of chorizo and all the Mexican food that you could ever think of. Now, and that was part of the problem of what happened to me in my transformation of becoming vegan. It was, it's interesting how we have to learn by mistake, and it was a hard lesson for me something that I had to teach myself growing up. I had to learn about the endocrine system and the digestive system in order to figure out what was wrong with me. I started, oddly enough, at a very young age, at like 13, 14, reading medical books. It happened to be an accident. But when I found these books, I'll tell you, I was mystified. I was so like, wow, these medical books have everything. And the funniest thing, it's where I learned a little bit about human anatomy and physiology, but it was very much, it was not in layman's terms, which was for a 14, 13-year-old kid, it was very difficult to read. So I carried them around for, I don't know how long, maybe a couple of years. And my dad said, "Oh, let me get you books that you can read that have color pictures." So, and then when I got them, I was so like, oh my, it was a Christmas present. And I was just like, oh my, or either birthday or Christmas. I'd never been so elated not to get a toy for the first time as a child. You know what I mean? You know how we love toys as children. But I was like, these two books that I got, I was like, oh my gosh, I love these books. So I got involved with reading the books, and it was very clear what was happening. And it had an A through H and H through Z or something like that. I still have these books. They're my favorite books. I haven't looked at them in a while. I'm definitely always curious about how things work, and that's how I grew up as a child. So I was sick, very sick as a child, and I decided, I was about 16. I come to the realization that for some reason, something, I don't know what it was exactly, but I remember I was eating a lot of eggs. I used to eat a lot of McDonald's. Every day was like sausage McMuffin with eggs, over and over, and I think that we don't want to give up our cheese. We don't want to give up our meat. We don't, my mouth's watering thinking about all this food. Maybe I'm still hungry, but
no, stop. Don't say it.
Growing up, I just loved meat, cheese products, tacos and tamales and all the Mexican food I was completely into. But so you have to come to the realization when I was 16, and keep in mind, 16 years old, I was pretty much almost on my own entirely. I had to come to the realization that, hey, there was something wrong with me. I was sick. I was getting headaches all the time. I was like, what's wrong with me? So I hit the books. I got my books, and I started reading about how food worked in the body. Mm-hmm. So I came to the conclusion. I said, I think at the least I could start with eggs. And Lord knows, and I'm telling you, thinking back about it, Lord knows why I picked eggs. I think I know, other than the fact that that all eggs contain salmonella. So I understood that when I started reading about the endocrine system and the digestive system and how they correlated and worked together, the chemicals of the body that was breaking down, the way that I was digesting food was causing me to have a headache in my pituitary gland. So this is what my conclusion was. Okay, I had these things going on in my mind. The pituitary gland was getting inflamed. So this is from what I was reading as a 16-year-old kid. So I remember thinking to myself, that's nice. You got this little thing, people here. I came to the conclusion, eggs. I'm going to start with eggs because I didn't want to give up meat. I didn't want to give up cheese, but I started with eggs. So when I started with eggs, I literally stopped eating everything with eggs in it. I mean, I had to come to the realization that eggs was in everything. And eggs is in everything. I loved everything.
Stuff you wouldn't imagine. Sometimes they're throwing eggs in, right?
That's right. You're talking. So, and of course, my favorite thing in the world, it was cookies. I used to make those chubs, those Pillsbury tubes. Man, I used to be obsessed over those things, right? But so I had to give it all up. I was like, okay, I'm going to give up eggs. And then I was still not feeling well. I think from 16 to 22, it was a slow transition, very slow transition to gather my thoughts. And I had to come to the realization that there was still something very wrong with me. So when I was about the age 22, 23, I was probably about 295. I was 295 pounds, and I was super sick again. I was still continuing and it just got worse, even without the eggs. And I was just talking about this yesterday. The interesting thing is what we do as humans is when we let something go, we tend to try to fill it in with something else. So I may have doubled up on meat. I may have doubled up on bacon. I may have doubled up on a lot of the foods that were still hurting me, and I had no idea.
Right.
You know how that works? You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, I'm not going to have eggs. Well, guess what? I'm going to have 2 sausages instead.
Like, there's been times where I thought, you know what? I'm not eating all this, so I can live on French fries, right? Potatoes and bread seem to have been my thing, and which is why, I love when you can find a way to eat that. Like, did you ever do any of the imitation eggs? Like, did you do the tofu?
No.
And you just gave them up, so you really went all.
Yeah, that's funny. You
I just
see,
wanted to welcome the realist McCoy said Rey
all
Ortega
that.
with the fire next to your name.
That's
And Tessa
awesome.
said I picked red meat when I first started. So she gave up the
That's
red
crazy.
meat.
That's courageous.
Yeah, my parents wouldn't have let me either go vegan, she said. And my culture was not like that. My
Yeah.
family, we had meat on every plate too. So I think
Oh,
that's just the way we all grew up.
if you didn't eat it, you didn't eat. If you didn't
Right.
have, and I was like, that was it. But you can't. My dad really is a very big man, and I was afraid of my dad, so I would never cross his path in that way to say I'm not eating this. I can't imagine as myself as a child, and I just started thinking about it. Hello, Michelle.
Hey,
I
Michelle.
just started thinking about it, and I thought, oh my gosh, I think my dad would have probably kicked my ass and shoved my face in the food. But even though he
Right.
wasn't really a violent man or anything like that, but I just think back, I'm thinking if I did not eat what was on my plate, he would have been pissed, and I would have been in trouble, and he would have probably just scorned me. But you know what? This is why I basically I kind of became self-taught, and because nobody else would show you. No, it's really up to you. Only so many, people can only come to you with these ideas, but you really have to implement them yourself. So, and I'm self-taught with a lot that I do. Everything, pretty much almost everything that I've done, including my businesses, I'm self-taught. And so when I stopped, at the age of 22, this is when I became vegan. I became vegan because I'll tell you one thing. One of the most exciting things that ever happened to me was I became vegetarian first, and I think that's a very common story. And
Mhm.
I lost six. I was 295. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still super sick, and I was super obese. I look like a completely different person. Trust me. I wish I should show pictures of myself. But then I remember laying in bed. I was so sick, and then thinking to myself, I think I'm gonna have to stop eating meat as much as I didn't want to because I loved Kentucky Fried Chicken. I love prime rib.
Mhm.
My mouth's watering. Even
You better be careful with all this stuff you hated. I mean, you loved, right?
yeah, I mean, I don't miss those things per se because one thing I had to realize, I don't miss being sick. I always said,
Right.
okay, I don't miss the shitty feeling that I had afterwards, which was just horrible. And I
Yes.
felt miserable. I was depressed. I was overweight. My blood wasn't working. Nothing was working. My brain wasn't working. I knew there was something wrong. So this is when I hit the books. I hit the books again hard. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to read what all this stuff is. And then finally I just said, I got a job at the Sacramento Natural Foods Co-op. And then I realized that and the reason why I got a job there was because I found a cookie that was a vegan cookie. And I had not had a cookie for 7 years at that point.
Isn't that an amazing feeling? I remember not having had mayo, like mayonnaise, and
Oh,
then found Hellman's vegan mayo, and I was like, you can still have mayonnaise. Like I remember I gave up everything like you. I went like just raw vegan, and I didn't know there was all that stuff existed. And I'm like,
wow.
this was
I
a
know
lot later.
your pictures are amazing. So that's what I love. When I see pictures like your pictures, and then I saw your videos that you made, I was wowed. I was like, damn, this is what I want to be this person's friend. Because your pictures are incredible, and I have those kind of pictures too. I don't really show them off. I should because they look pretty bad, but but
Right.
it
It's
is.
always hard to show that, but it's like, you know what, if like to show people the transition that you can make, they'll never believe that you can just cut out meat and dairy and
I
still eat
know.
pretty much, there's been times where I've not eaten perfectly good vegan food, all whole food, and I've still kind of maintained weight loss though.
Right. Well, let me tell you, my story kind of goes on. This is the funniest part about my story in particular. So I get in, I find this vegan cookie. I'm probably 185 or something like that, 195. And I lost all this weight, like 95 pounds, right? And in total. And then when I got into the cookie business, I basically gained about 30 pounds back because
Right. I can imagine. I'm like, my mouth was watering making the thumbnail with those cookies on there because I just literally went back on my really healthy food plan on January 1st. I was hooked on
uh,
cookies, and I'm like, what timing he had. He's bringing
yeah,
the
right.
cookies back into my focus.
Wait till you get the cookies. I always send a nice, good set too. But it wasn't just cookies at the time. I started baking muffins and cakes and scones. I just went nuts. As soon as I figured out the formulation of how to create a cookie with a longer shelf life over time, as soon as I started learning to bake vegan baking, I just went absolutely crazy. I mean, and that's why I was like, I was eating all these cookies and I couldn't stop. I have a cookie problem even today. Unfortunately, I just had two full-size brownies, which was, what is wrong with me? And I crash now once in a while. But I will tell you, when I first started out this business, I was using wheat flour. I still use wheat flour now, but I have, and I always tell this to people, I'm probably the only person who has used to eat about almost 800 cookies a year. I was eating for like 26 years. I was eating hundreds a year. And so I realized that I had to evolve. So I didn't want to just stay stagnant with my cookies. I wanted to make them better. I wanted to make them healthier. I wanted to make them higher in fiber, higher in protein, because I was eating so many that I knew there was like, okay, my body can adjust to this the way that I'd like it to, because yes, you know what? We can become vegan, but you can become a junk food vegan pretty easily these days. It wasn't like that for me at first, because when I first became vegan, I was eating top ramen, oats, and toast every day. Hey, Mary.
Right. Hey, Muriel, welcome in. Thank you.
Tessa and Aurelius, and I love it. This is so cute. I love that this happens. You can see her.
I know. I love having people interact. That's why I like doing the lives, because it's so much better.
So awesome. So I was so this is the funny part about being vegan is, this is 1994. It's been 30 years, but I had to come to the realization of what I was going to miss, so to speak. You know what I mean? I think that you have to come to terms, like, what's worth it? Is it worth it for you to continue to be healthy or be sick? Is it worth the cheese that you're consuming? How are you gonna feel? I mean, I started having some guilt about myself. I mean, I just went through it's an emotional choice.
Food is emotional. I mean,
very emotional, and
so we create new emotions with the new healthy food. But until then, like, I saw a picture of you, not to go off topic, but I think it was on your Facebook, where you and I think your daughter were at a restaurant that was vegan, but it looked like these tacos looked like amazing. I forget what it was. It started with an A, I think, the name of the restaurant. Maybe I don't know if it was Old Coast.
I think it was Gracias Madre in Los Angeles. It was just.
I was like, I need to get out there, because we don't have any restaurants that have that good looking vegan food, right? I was like, so
stay out of LA. LA, you will go. You could eat somewhere in LA almost every day, for at least once a month, for a month at a time. There's so many restaurants. I can't even count them. I lost count. But and keep in mind, when I started being vegan, there was no such thing. I was very much alone. I had nowhere to eat, really. I had nothing I could ever think of. There was no Impossible meat. There was no, there was no vegan butter, and I love butter and everything. I think we all I love toast. I was a huge toast fan, bread fan, of course. And, then I had to figure out what breads didn't have eggs in them. It was all those things that you have to start to find yourself without temptation, because I think that what happens is we get weak. For myself, I did go cold turkey. I didn't go back. I didn't look back, because I was so angry about in society and how it taught us how this stuff was supposedly good for us.
Right. Milk does the body good, and meat has all the protein.
That's why
gotta be tough and eat meat, right?
That's why I decided that, the mad cookie man, and then I didn't, because Sandra didn't think the pissed cookie man sounded good, because I was pissed.
I love the mad cookie man, and then I saw that and I was like, wait, I called him the compassionate cookie man, because I was thinking about hurting animals. I'm like, I totally mixed up. I should have said the story of the mad cookie man, but like, I don't know, when I was thinking about it went with like C and C, compassionate cookie. I was going for this.
Hey, I have that now. It's just that I've turned my anger into passion, which drives me to want. It's not just adults. It's a lot. When it first started, it was mainly like, 'cause I don't want kids to suffer. I don't want people to suffer eating snacks and eating cookies and eating cake. I didn't want anyone to suffer. And that was a big thing for me. Then I started to realize, oh my gosh, if I put eggs, if I continued, or if I ever did put eggs in my cookies or whatever I made, that in my mind, it's like putting poison in them, you know? And I was like, that's not happening. That I'm not going to poison a kid and have them have problems and issues. So I was really set off to change the world one cookie at a time. I know it sounds past, what's the word?
I love it.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that I was just like, this is not happening. So and I think I just took my anger and my being pissed to a different level that drives me even today. When I do these things, you can probably see, I probably was a little bit more calmer with Mari. I call her Mari, by the way, because I like that name.
I like that.
I said, hey, can I call you Mari? She's like, okay. I was like, okay, good. Because I like that Marquette.
I know it took me a while too. I've said it wrong for about half a year. Marquita, I think she does it.
But I like Mari. Mari seems fitting. So anyway, I get a little crazy with my passion on this whole thing, and it's because I'm still very driven to change. And this is why I'm doing all these things, because I'm very driven to continue to change the marketplace, keep eggs out of people's mouths. And I love what I do. I'm very happy that I'm doing it. And I am still a little bit overweight, but I'm still, only because I'm still eating a lot of cookies.
That shows you how good they are, everyone. Like,
I know people always ask me, do you get sick of cookies? I got a lot of catching up to do still. Cookies.
Plus, I'm sure you have to taste all of them. I mean, it's business, right? You can't just put out a cookie that. Michelle said no chicken periods. Oh my goodness, yes. I totally used to call, like, there's no way that I could ever really, like, sometimes the thought of the egg, like when you were talking about it, but I'm like, there's too many other versions that I can eat right now that I wouldn't ever need an egg. Even if I was craving an egg, I would never touch an actual real animal product ever again. Like, I don't care how many times I went up and on and off maybe a healthy diet plan throughout these 5 years. I have never touched meat or dairy. So I'm like, because like you said, I don't want to feel the back pain that I used to feel. I don't want to feel the allergies that I used to have all the time, and the being stuffy constantly. Like, I was like that.
It's more than it's the stomach and the back. It's the body overall. You know, how long has it been for you?
April of 2019. So I'm coming up on 5 years in a couple of months. So nowhere near how long you've been vegan. So, but
I'm vegan too. So I have been super strict. People probably think that. I think there are vegans out there that go back, which I feel sorry for them.
Welcome, Sandra. Thank you. We were just talking about how awesome your biography you put together is. She said most cookies on the market have dairy, also a popular allergen. Yeah, and I think that's important to note. Like, for any parents watching, I don't think people know that enough, that they don't realize, like, something that we eat and is so normal and in all of our food, that if your child has something going on, like, we're not doctors, but the one thing that you want to have them look into or maybe test is eliminating, like, dairy and meat really is a huge inflammatory. I mean, it's just, I've heard so many stories like yours of, people having asthma, acne, all kinds of skin conditions, and it's cleared up when they remove the dairy. It's amazing.
It's, that's what caught me about your videos were really I like learned something. You know what I mean? I mean, I've been doing this 30 years, and I saw your video and I was so taken back by it. I was like, what? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is the kind of stuff that everyone needs to see. It needs to be out there more and more.
So does your story, because, that's inspiring, that you took it, and kids are going to eat cookies anyway. So if they choose yours, you're going to get a healthier cookie.
Yes, you know what's funny though? I've made millions of cookies and sold millions of cookies, but guess what? It's still not enough. I think that in 1994, I think or 95 or 96, I looked it up that we were only 4% of the population that was vegan. And then now, unfortunately, it's only 6. And that's kind of what woke me up. I mean, even whether or not that information is true and whoever put that out, I should go back and look at it. I was just
I thought it was less, so that's great.
6%. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get, I have a lot of work. I feel like I have some responsibility to make change. I don't know why I feel this way. It's just like I cannot stand that this is happening still. And people, I see it in stores all the time. I just saw some guy have like 8 gallons of milk in his cart, those big gallons. I was like, oh my gosh, what does he have? A baby cow in his house?
Right. I have a feeling he might think he's the baby cow, but that's, some people say that as a joke, but it's really quite true if you think about no other species drinks another mammal's milk. Like, why would, we're just taught that? And like, that's one of when you said you were mad, I think that's one of the phases I went through too, is like, how was I not, how did I not come across this until 42? Like, no one said it, no one told me. And I think that's why you're inspired to come out and do this. Because if I had seen your interview on somewhere, you know, it would have, and then, you know, just to think, oh, he just makes cookies, but then to hear that your story is so inspiring, that you were sick as a kid and figured this out, you know, it's even, it makes me want to, like, you know, put this out there even more and support the company, because you're trying to make a difference with your product.
It's a bigger deal than you realize. Michelle asked, do I make raw cookies? Well, I make raw truffles for a client of mine called Rock and Raw. I don't make raw cookies for any of my brands yet. I might someday down the road, but I'm not, you know, I've got a lot of work to do. I'm still trying to build another facility. In fact, I made a business plan and a pitch deck to build hopefully one of the largest vegan dedicated facilities in the United States. That's what that's my dream. That's my next goal. I think that I finally feel like, oh, you know what, I've done something. I really put stuff out there between 2 or 3, 4 companies, 5 companies, you know, and I'm thinking, you know, I really made a mark, but it's not enough. I have barely scratched the surface, and I still like knowing these facts, even just Sandra's. But I have to tell Sandra, that 6% that I came up with was just from the United States. It wasn't from anywhere else, but I wanted to bring that up. And mung beans, yes, mung beans. You know, Just Foods, Josh from Just Foods, he did a wonderful job making those eggs, the fake eggs, the Just Foods eggs. I just love those to death.
Yeah, I've had those.
They're so good. And you raw cookies. But I could make a masterful. I'm sorry, I'm not to toot my own horn or pat myself in the back, but Muriel, I can make a bomb raw vegan cookie. I have all the components.
You know, I've got a lot of raw crew here because that's how I started my journey. So
I don't know how you could have done that. I would have never have thought in my life to eat raw.
You know, it actually, I feel like looking back, it helped me to then transition into vegan because I gave up everything. I didn't even have any temptations, you know, for like 6 months. I thought what I was eating was like lettuce, cucumbers, you know, all the fruits and vegetables. I didn't even realize, like, then once I found that definitely put a couple pounds on me when I found the Chipotle sofritas and I found the vegan ice cream and the cookies. I was like, okay, wait, I've been really depriving myself. And then eventually I got back to rice and beans and whole food. And now I'm all the way back raw again. So I just went on a cycle. So
well, you know what?
Whatever makes you feel good, right?
Yeah, you know, interestingly enough, I had just discovered in the last couple of years fasting, like intermittent fasting. I've been fasting a lot, and you know what? It's made a miracle difference in the way that I feel even more, because I was having issues with. I mean, I eat a lot of cookies. I used to eat a lot. I mean, look, I still eat a lot of cookies. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, but the problem is, I don't have. It just goes to show you my self-control for sugar and for sweets in particular, and I love chocolate, it's a battle for me still. I mean, just because I became vegan doesn't mean that I don't love food anymore or don't love what I loved, and just in its vegan form now. I'd like this. I'm almost like I should be Alcoholics Anonymous for sugar, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Because I love it so much. But
Mhm.
and it just goes to show you now, because I have been deprived for so long, that I've taken it upon myself to say I'm going to seek out everything that I can, and its replacement, and eat it. You know what I mean? I don't care how bad or good it is. You know, now there's all the cheeses. You have to remember, 1994, there was nothing like there is today. Today, not only that, but the people. I mean, people like yourself who are doing these things, unheard of. I would never in my life would have thought 30 years ago that I would be on a podcast talking about being vegan, because
Right, right.
I was ashamed of being vegan when I first became vegan. I was ashamed of being vegetarian, and if it wasn't for the Sacramento Natural Foods Co-op, I would have. I would have probably have. It would have been much more difficult, but because the co-ops, for me, it was, they were very accepting for who I was, just as a human being, just as a person. It was such a diverse crew of people at the time. It really taught me a lot, because I don't know, I'm not sure if it was my ego or
Can
what
you
it
tell
was.
us, just for those that don't know what that exactly is? It's an organization, right?
Sacramento Natural Foods Co-op is a store. It's a co-op that's been around since the 70s, and
Okay.
they are. I always really. I used to drive by it all the time, but in high school, because it used to be down literally a few blocks from my high school. But I used to think, the hippies. I wasn't a hippie. I'm not going to be a hippie. I didn't want to be a hippie. Now
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah,
hippie
yeah.
hips.
It happens to us, right?
It, we're, you know what? Call it what you want. I end up, I realized I had to come to the realization that I'm a hippie. I'm a vegan hippie, and that's just how it is. But I'm not a thin vegan hippie. I'm not a waif. I still have
Right.
some weight, strength on me. I'm pretty strong still, and that's really what I think, that having that job really transformed me. That was where I got my start, my beginning with everything vegan and cookies.
And what so like, I don't know, for me, like, that kind of evolved into understanding what happens with animals. Well, cool, Tessa, we
Oh,
have the same vegan anniversary, April of 2019. That is cool.
I'm I'm, I'm
We'll
April too.
celebrate.
I'm
April 2? Oh,
I'm
we got the
April of
good ones too.
1994. Yeah.
That's cool. What was going on in April? I guess it was like spring renewal. We were renewing ourselves. That just happens to be when I saw the documentary that kind of, I guess, changed me. It just wasn't even planned for April. It was just kind of
That's
spur of the
funny.
moment.
It
That's cool.
happens. It can come in some way, shape, or form. Mine was just happened to be that I was worried about my own colon, my own.
Right, your own health, right? And so when did it I see you support a lot of animal organizations too. Did you later on move into like the ethical part about
Yes,
veganism?
it took a long time. You too, Sandra? Oh my gosh.
April, oh, look at this. This is cool. Now I'm gonna have to study this. I'm gonna have to go on my Facebook
I know,
group and ask
right?
what month.
What's in April? So well, it took me a couple of years. I had a friend of mine here locally, Linda Middlesworth. I mentioned her from time to time.
Yes, I know
And
that.
do you know who Linda is? Oh my
Yes.
God. Linda was a different character 30 years ago, and she would really used to shove it down my throat and just make me watch these videos, send me video VHS. There was no links to send at the time. She used to always hand me videotapes. Look, you got to see the video. You got to see the video. I'm like, I don't want to see no video of people, animals getting slaughtered, people killing these animals. I didn't want to see it, but I ended up doing it anyway, because I realized, you know what, there was something to this. There was connection, because I was so mad anyway. Just seeing the videos made the connection even more crazy for me. Made me realize, wow, you know what? There's more to be mad about.
Right. There's even more. That's what it was like. What? There's more. But wait, there's more, right?
There's more. I was like, oh my gosh. So you have to take all this energy, and you have to take the anger that you have in any situation and try to turn it around. And that's basically what I did.
Yeah.
So
That definitely helped to put it into action, right?
yeah, yeah. And Farm Sanctuary was one of my first main contacts. Lori and Gene Bauer, who I just love both. I love Gene to death. Gene is one of my better friends in this vegan craziness. But Gene and Lori, I became fast friends with, and I can't remember what year it was, like maybe 1997. It was a long time. But I just like, wow, I was so wowed over these people. Like, I'm like, people are rescuing these animals. I was like, how weird is that? I mean, I was like, that's strange. No,
It's funny how we think of things then, and then now how things evolve in our brain to be like, oh, okay, that's now normal.
it's now normal, right? It was not normal back then. It was like these guys were ahead of. I think Gene is 35. Oh no, yeah, he's about 35 years. He's like 5 years more vegan than I am. It's funny. But anyway, let me see here.
Oh yeah,
April Fool.
yeah. I was just
That's
saying
you.
April
Oh, you
Fool,
wrote
right? What do you eat now, like in a normal day, like, when you're not temporarily eating cookies, I was gonna say.
Well, I eat a lot of toast still.
A lot of toast. I was wondering if you were like a chef because of how good you can bake cookies. I was wondering if you were
I'll tell you what I eat. Honestly, I go back to my roots, and I am grateful for places like Chipotle. And I'm very careful about where I eat. I prefer to a all vegan establishment. In fact, I had my own vegan restaurant for about 5 years, and boy, I was in hog heaven with that whole thing. But it was just very difficult for me to continue to run two businesses at the same time, which was my bakery, that place, and deal with the people. It was like a ton of just people, customers, and the employees were a lot for me. I did very well with it, but it was just too much for my brain to continue to function that way. But I had a lot of vegan cookies. Vegan burgers are my favorite, I would say. Burritos and bean burritos, rice burritos. But I would say Thai food. I eat a lot of Thai food. I'm like just recently got more into hummus, even though it doesn't always agree with me. But hummus bread. But I'm very consistent. I think that's a key factor when you become vegan is find something that you love and stick by it for a while. And then when you have to get full as quick as you can, because if you don't, you're going to make bad decisions. I made a lot of bad choices by being flippant about my decisions. Like I would get hungry, and I would be like, I would break. But this is before I was vegan, or as I was vegetarian. I started to realize the control you have to have, especially at that time. There was no. I was still doing cheese. I was still eating some meat. Chicken was the last meat that I actually ate voluntarily. But through the years, I've been super, super, super strict about everything. Not only just what I eat, but where I eat. Because then I started scratching my head and realizing these guys are making the grill of the burger on my vegetarian burger or whatever that I want.
Yeah, they're using the same surface, right? Like,
it just started getting to me, all those things. Now that I'm in the business of processing food, now I know so much more than I used to know.
You know too much now, right? Like, how are you guys doing that? I
know. Trader Joe's used to have a hummus, and I don't know, they may still, because I stopped buying it. I look on the back of the package and it said shared with seafood and all this other food with their hummus. I'm thinking, why would seafood be with hummus shared with the hummus? I was like, so I stopped buying it. I was like, I'm never going to buy that because it was just the risk of the bacteria. Because what I learned was the food and the bacteria that it was actually affecting me when it was decomposing in my body, and it would somehow I would just get sick from the bacteria, and so that's what I learned. I learned by reading the books how it decomposed in my body. That's
the thing I wanted to go into. So in your research, because a lot of people watching this may not be vegan yet, and they're like, so what's wrong with meat? What's wrong with it? Why would it make us sick? And it's like, wow, from you doing your research, from me doing research, like we kind of have this knowledge now that you can't unlearn once you know it. Like I can't put that in my body.
That's one thing I loved about the details that you had in your videos. I was like, this is like amazing. It was exactly like the interesting thing is like I've known a lot of this stuff for 30 years. 30 years I've known this stuff. And,
Mhm.
you know, to try to tell someone throughout the time between the 30 years, my family, my friends, all the people that I know,
Hard.
you know, anybody who, you know, that's why I don't have any friends anymore because I
Me
friends.
too.
Yeah,
So I'm sitting here doing this
I'm
instead of
telling
out
you,
with my
I'm
friends,
like,
right?
yeah. So then I'm telling people, look, there's this and that. It has bacteria, blah blah blah. You know, and they don't believe you. Then nobody
Mhm.
believes you, and that's what that's what made me nuts. I was just like, and this is then I came to the realization. Now I know why they call it the mad scientist, because the mad
Mhm.
scientist is mad because nobody believes him. Because like
Right.
mad, you know what I mean? It's like just like your stuff. When I saw your stuff, I was absolutely shocked to see that somebody had the nerve to put this type of thing out. Your stuff is actually, you could probably refine it and make more from it because there's so many great details in there. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I love this woman. That's why I think when I sent that message to you, I was like, oh, thank you, Michelle. I was like so blown away. I was like, sign me up. Did you remember that message I said? Sign
Yes.
me up.
Yep. I
I
remember
was
that.
like, oh
And
my!
then
I saw
you
your
know,
video. I was super shocked. I was taken back by it. That's how impressed I
one
was.
of the things we can say to people, like, I love your honesty, and that's how I am. I'm like, I used to love this stuff. I'm not doing it because I'm like a hater of the taste of meat and
Right?
dairy, right? You're telling us exactly what you were feeling, and you're honest about it. And this is now how and you've been 30 years, so people know it's possible. Thank you so much for the compliments. I hate the same as you that the information's not out there.
Your stuff should be in schools. That type of stuff. If people need to see your stuff, there's no doubt about it. Michelle says I got a
Let's
lot of
see.
friends here. That's so
Thank
sweet.
you.
And,
Right?
sweet. I know
See,
it's funny. You don't even know what it's like to have like everyone. It's like when you become vegan, the seas part.
it's
Everything
like I have more friends online because like
everybody goes away. They don't want
yeah.
to hear it. When you take away people's personal choice, they're gone. They don't want to hear that they can't have their cheese and their meat. They don't want to hear, nobody wants to hear, because personal choices are so personal. I guess you could
Mhm.
say they're like, hey, I still love my cheese, and it's one of the most popular things that I hear every day, and not every day, but I hear mostly is, I can't stop eating cheese. Or I eat little meat. I'm like, if they only knew. Not see, for me, it's become the science of food and how it works in your body.
Mhm.
That's why, again, I go back and I refer to your videos. Your videos is like blew my mind. I was like, what the hell? I was like, why?
Mhm.
Why? I was almost jealous. I saw those videos. I was so taken back by the information that it brought to me. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I really want to talk to this person, and see what else she can do. I mean, I know it's a lot of work to do those videos. I can imagine. I think it was quite a long video, but it was very informational.
Yeah,
And
they do take a minute to put together
a
to
lot of
like
work,
get the pictures to match what I'm voiceovering, but
right?
there's a certain way like that I'm passionate about, especially the diabetes information too, because
Yeah.
so many people struggle with that, and I don't think they know how it works in within the body. And I don't have any type of degree. I just really, like you, just read a lot of research studies, and the ones that are paid by the industry you have to skip over sometimes. You
Oh,
have to realize
just
where it came from too, right?
no. You always consider the source. Always
Hmm.
consider the source. And it's funny. I don't care what anybody says, but a lot of those corporations and people who put that type of information out always skip over the most important parts. And really, it's the dumbing down of America. It's really
Hmm.
just saying you're too stupid to understand the chemistry of foods. And
Hmm.
that's what made me even more crazy. I was like, when I started to understand fully of the chemistry of the whole thing, that's when it just made me even more mad. I mean, it was like an incremental madness of I was like, the more I learned, the more pissed I got about the situation. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah. And then this, and that's like a lot of people in the comments. Thank you for the comments here that were saying, yeah, I don't watch any videos anymore about the animals like that are, because I don't need to see it anymore. I've seen enough. I get it. I don't eat it. I don't need it. But the people that do, I think it can be very helpful. And I lost friends too, Tessa said. Yeah, we
And
all lost
relatives.
friends. And
And my
Sandra,
relatives don't even talk to me. Yeah, my relatives, I have a lot of family. Every time I would be the guy who cut the turkey. And you have to remember, when I go to my family reunions and holiday stuff, they don't even invite me anymore. Trust me, because I used to be the guy who cut the meats all the time, and I'd bring.
right.
I don't do that anymore. I'm out of there.
The traditions, right? You just, it's like I found a new way to eat, and it's hard to meld with everybody. I'm just, kind of getting in the groove of it after years of them understanding, oh, that's just, she's the crazy vegan in the family. So
that's the cult.
But I'm getting them there. One of these days we're gonna have everybody around us. Maybe. Well, you might be on a better page with that because you can offer them vegan cookies that taste good.
That's my secret weapon.
All your links are in the description here if you guys go to it. Can you just tell us, like, I don't want to end without getting your hey, J&J Video Reacts, Dawn, welcome. She said fasting is awesome. She liked your intermittent fasting comment. And Sandra said food can be the cause of your disease and your medicine. Absolutely, that is true. Michelle said her friends got defensive. It's so sad because those friends of mine that are like that are the sickest and angriest people. It is a shame to watch. It's hard to watch. I didn't get the end. Diseases are preventable, Sandra said, by removing animals and eating plants. Yes, thank you. That's so true. And how do we get these cookies? Like, how do we go get them? Like, do you sell them in, I think you said Whole Foods and other places, right?
Some of the stuff that I make is in Whole Foods, but my cookies are only available online now in Amazon, and I have actually thousands of accounts, but I don't know where they are because I have distributors who handle it for me. So, and I've gotten, just today I got some orders from Princeton. I get them from Disney World. Yeah, I'm just like, I get them from hospitals. I get them from all the strangest institutions. Unfortunately, not Canada yet. But I'm working on Canada as we speak. I'm working on it every day. I've got somebody who's great that Sandra introduced me to. Sandra has been very instrumental in guiding me to be better. Food can be the cause of your disease. Oh, I like them. Yes, I know. Sandra is pretty sharp. I love. That's why I love Sandra to death. I know Sandra probably thinks I don't like her because she's always correcting me and trying to make me better, and it drives me absolutely nuts.
He loves you, Sandra.
I know. Sandra knows I love her to death. It's so funny because I haven't found anyone like Sandra to come and like just groom me in some ways, and I need to be groomed because you know what? My business is cookies. My business is to get what I can out in the public to have a better product and the eggs out of people's mouths, and dairy too as well. Yeah.
It's so great though that you come on and you do this so that you can share your story, because I think people will be more like receptive to why should I eat a vegan cookie, now hearing your journey and how it completely, like, so when you gave up dairy and meat, I don't even think we ever got back to that. I probably put you on a tangent, but that all the headaches and the sickness went away, right?
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? Oh my, a tangent. Yes, I do get on tangents. I have to, it's the passion that I hold inside me that just makes me go nuts. Okay. But yes, are you kidding me? To understand, I don't know if you've ever like banged your arm or your funny bone and you're like, but then you know what? It feels good when the pain goes away. That's what kind of vegan is like. Kind of vegan is like the pain went away. And so I'm like, it was just like everything, my mind started to become sharper. My skills became better. I started feeling and seeing things in a way different light that I've ever seen things. And this is what made me more passionate. It's just the discovery of really your inner self, my spiritual inner self came alive, after struggling with being sick. And I was even suicidal at one point because I had suicidal thoughts because I was so miserable and so unhappy. I just didn't want to be here anymore because I thought if this was how it was going to be in life, I didn't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did start feeling better. And I'm sorry going tangents. And I think even Sandra tells me, quit going on tangents about your sickness, but I can't help myself.
We have two tangent people here, so we're probably, I know I was like, we'll keep it to a half hour, and I'm sure I've run you way over that. I'm so sorry. But, I do enjoy podcasts that have and shows that have a conversation in them, that are not, sometimes it's a little better when I think people like hearing that. And plus we have the interaction of everyone here. It's truly great.
I know, it's so fun. I love that. I think this is the first time I've seen the interaction. It's been great. Usually it's just a Zoom thing, but I wish more people would chime in. But yes, Canada. You know what? I will tell you this. It will be Sandra's fault that if I get them into Canada.
Well, I think Michelle and Muriel are both from Canada too, and Sandra. So now you have 3 customers when you get them.
Yeah, there's a whole slew of these vegans. I should probably move to Canada.
Yeah, maybe I have friends there.
I have at least 3, 4 friends there. Yeah. So don't worry, I'm working on that. I promise I will. It'll be Sandra's fault, but that's good. That's a good kind of fault. I love Sandra for that.
What flavors? I know I had the one up on the screen, the mint chocolate chip. I think I saw. What's your favorite cookie that you make? Let's do that. You don't have a favorite, do you?
Oh, they're all my favorite, but my go-to is number 1 is chocolate chip, of course, and then brownie is. I'm a huge chocolate fan. It's funny because we get kickbacks all the time. Ones that I can't sell because for one reason or another, just shaped funny or whatever. But somebody said, "Here, you want a lemon cookie?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna. I'm not." As much as I know it tastes fantastic, and once in a while I will have another cookie of something else. But I will not waste my calories in anything but with chocolate in. I love chocolate. I love my snickerdoodles. I just acquired this company, Mishi's Cookies, who is in. You can't really see the label, but they're in Rouse in Southern California. And this one right here, you can't see it. I wish I had put in a better shot. The vanilla one that I just came up with, man, that is delicious too. It's with wheat though, but mainly I transformed everything into oat flour. I've been trying to work on oat flour because it's a gluten-free oat flour, organic gluten-free oat flour, because it's just they are just higher in fiber and protein. That's why I love. So my go-to still sadly is I don't think it's going to ever change. Chocolate chip is my number 1. That's my baby.
I think I might be able to load the pictures in here. I'm going to try to send them to myself if I can get this picture of the cookies on here bigger. Let's see. Let me see if they'll come through to my email, and I'll load them in really quick before we go because it's going to make me hungry, and I haven't ate dinner yet, and I'm going to want to. I don't have any cookies. That's a good thing in the house, so I can't eat only cookies for dinner. That's awesome.
Yeah, snowstorming. Yeah, I saw Sandra posted a.
Oh my goodness, that's cold. -9.
Yeah, Sandra just posted a picture of her out her window, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be in Canada now.
Right.
I'm in California. You're
in California. It's even I'm in Maryland, so it's not cold like where they have it. But let's see if I can see what the temperature is. I don't know. It's probably maybe 40s or something like that. Nothing like that though.
We're getting to that. It's 34 at my house right now, or close to it. But when it gets nighttime, it gets freezing, literally. I'm a gingerbread cookie monster. Oh yeah, I do love my gingerbread too. That's good. 26. Oh my God. 14, 9. Oh my gosh. Snowstorm coming too. Yeah. Oh, perfect. We are gluten-free. Yeah. Oh, gluten-free. Oh yeah. So, what's funny is interesting about the gluten-free oats is it didn't exist. Oh, those are not my cookies, but it didn't exist. Gluten-free oats did not exist 10 years ago, approximately. I just recently, it was really weird. And the reason why gluten-free oats aren't gluten-free is because they're grown in the same fields.
Oh, okay.
60 Savannah, Georgia. Is it Savannah, Georgia? I think, right? Is that right, Mona? Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. 65? Oh my gosh, where is that? Australia?
Oh, Mona, thank you for coming.
How can that be 65 in Savannah? 65 minus? Because It's freezing everywhere else.
In Georgia? Is that where she is?
Yeah, is
Maybe
that what Savannah is? Fahrenheit. Oh, 60 Fahrenheit. Okay. The wait for spring and summer. It's beautiful during. Yes, yes, yeah. Now I will. I have to go to Canada now because I'm seriously curious about Canada. You know, being so many vegans there, I have more than 2 friends. I can see. So well, you have to keep in mind as long as I have cookies. Oh, Georgia. Wow, 65. Oh my gosh. Is that on the equator? What's going on there? That's crazy.
Jeez, I'm looking at these. Everyone, it's all, and there was a lot of snow like this, like around in the east like coast, but northern Maryland there was a lot of snow. So
I'm not friends with snow.
no, I don't think I am very good friends with it, but I wouldn't mind seeing it just from inside the window. I don't like that's when it's tough when you have to get out in it, right? Like
I've driven in it, and it's not easy. It's scary, scary,
not
scary.
fun, right?
I drive in snow. Yeah.
So that I just really quick before we end here in a few seconds, what actually when did you like I know you started working at the co-op, but when did this become a thing? Like when did you start making cookies as a business? I don't even
Well,
think you
it
got
was it was when I got the job at the well. So I found this cookie at the co-op, and I'll try to be brief. Uh, and then I was like so enamored and fascinated. I was like, I got to get a job there. I have to learn how to do this. And that's when I started Alternative Baking Company in 1994, 95, 94, 95. So that's when I started. I was like, oh my gosh. Once I started to learn how to do it, and I'm a really fast learner. And I'm like, I really catch on fast because I'm a self-taught person. And then that's when I started my first company. And it was in fact a lot of my information that you can see is on. I just started a website called startaveganbusiness.com, and
I'll
that
put
is
that link in the description for everyone.
you can find everything about me on there, and that's also thanks to Sandra. She's so great. And you can find my cookies on there for sale. I just finished a website. I'm still working on the website for the most part, but you can see a little bit more of my story and who I am and why I'm trying to do this, why it's so important to me. It's going to be important to me until the day I die. I can guarantee you.
Definitely. I can definitely tell your passion, and I just double checked. Yes, all of those links are going to be in there. And what is the website for the cookies too? That
It's
one is
sunflowerbaking.com. Spelled
Sunflower Baking.
like baking flour, FLOUR.
FLOUR. Yes, I got that in here. Sunflower Baking Company, and then you're also on you're on X, which is that used to be Twitter, right? Now they
Yeah,
call it
I'm not really active on there. That's relatively new. But
Facebook.
you can be my Facebook friend or my
Instagram.
Instagram friend on my sunflower. You can find me.
LinkedIn, I think, is on there. So you
yeah.
if you're trying to track down the Mad Cookie Man, we've got all your links there in your sunflowerBakingCompany.com, right?
Yes.
That's the one.
Sunflowerbaking.com.
Baking, not company. Okay. What is the Start a Vegan Business again? Are you going to
startaveganbusiness.com? So it's basically a website that I figured, you know what, there's more of us out there who are younger and may want to do something even older, and they may have the money to say, hey, I want to start a vegan business. So I'm very, I know how to, I'm very diverse on manufacturing. I know how to manufacture. My thing is I know how to make millions of things really fast, a lot of things quickly. So that's in regards to packaging, materials. I have a ton of resources. I've really sifted through the resources over the years because of my vegan standards. I know a lot of things and a lot of people and a lot of equipment that can process quickly. What I need to ask you a question.
I definitely trust your products because I hear how you're as passionate about me not to touch an egg or anything. So I know your products don't have anything touching it.
I will not. That is one thing that I am a big deal for me is I would never put it on non-dedicated equipment. When a lot of companies use shared equipment, I do not, and I will never not. I will quit before I ever use shared equipment with eggs and dairy. I will quit. I can guarantee you, I will stop everything that I'm doing if somebody ever tried to say, you have to do this. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And thank God I'm in 100% in control.
Right.
Muriel, yes, so she can just email me if you want to email me. You can email me at Rey Ortega, hold on, REY Ortega67@gmail. And then you can just find me on my vegan website, the startaveganbusiness.com. I'm on there also.
Muriel is trying to see how many cookies I ate to see if I'm still on my raw diet. That's what she's trying to do. Is that what you're trying to ask him? I'm just kidding. Sandra said I was just asked if the percentage of vegans in Canada was more than the US, and I said probably not. Oh, well, we're working our way to getting people. Hey, we may have changed someone's mind or at least got them curious from this show. So who knows, right? They might not be commenting, but they might be watching the replay and say, you know what, I resonate with this guy, and I think, you know what, I need to do that too.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm with all, everything, all joking aside, I have inspired quite a few vegans, only because, I have just been honest. Just tell them the truth. Some listen, some don't. And it happens. You know what I mean? So people have been inspired by me, and I've had to inspire myself. But for the most part, I'm so happy and glad that whatever I do can help anybody. I'm glad to help anybody and everybody as much as I can.
Well, we can definitely see your passion for not only your business, but like your journey and your need to put this information out there. And I think it's a beautiful thing that not only you're putting out your story, but you also have a product that people can, that can see that, being vegan doesn't have to be not fun. You know what I mean? Or, if your kids want a snack to go to school, you can give them a vegan cookie, right? And know that it's.
Yes. That was my biggest battle, was people were like, is it going to taste like cardboard? Is your cookie?
Right.
Not anymore. The cardboard era is over.
Yes, I've gotten some things that have tasted like cardboard, but I've also gotten things that I have to check the package 5 times to see, like, wait, is this real? Like, is this? Yeah, I'm going to be like, Ray, are you sure these don't have eggs in them?
I know, right? I'm telling you.
Because I've read the reviews, and you have some good cookies there. So everybody needs to at least try. Let us know on the Facebook page if you order some cookies, and let us know how they are on the Veganowledge page for those of you that are in my group. I would love to.
No more cardboard, Michelle says.
No more cardboard. No more cardboard. And that's what people are like. They think about vegan food, even like food you make, like
even now.
It's vegan, but like a lot of the things on your plate are vegan. You're just like taking out a couple of things, right? Like, people have rice. You can have rice, you can have corn. You don't have to like worry about everything you eat has to change, right?
The funniest thing is, and I know this has happened to you, and it happens probably to most vegans, I'll say, can you not have cheese? I don't want cheese in my whatever. No cheese on whatever, right? Then they'll say, do you want onions too? I'm like, I didn't say no onions, man. You know what I mean? It's like, I didn't say.
Yeah, they did that to us one night. They did that to me and Dawn were eating or ordering food, and I ordered like something like I didn't want any condiments on it. This is when we were on a burger kick, and like I just didn't order mayo or something, and they didn't put anything. No,
I know they take everything off.
I was like, I didn't want it like bland. I just didn't want any mayo because I had my own at home,
But I'm not the only one that's happened to, because I think it's hilarious.
Yes, they just are like, oh, vegan? Okay, blank.
Yes. Thank you, thank you.
It's funny when people ask you are certain things vegan, like, well, fish are vegan, right? No, fish are not vegan. It's still living, like people have their own ideas sometimes. Funny because I was the same way. Like I didn't even know what the word vegan meant when I first began this journey. I was like, that's like me, no cheese. Like that's literally what I thought it meant. Nothing about the philosophy or anything until later on I found out. So that's why I'm happy we're all here. Michelle said it happens to her all the time, and Tessa said most products may contain eggs.
I hate that. I do. I despise all that may contain dairy or eggs thing. Like that just drives me nuts. That's why I'm setting out to do bigger. I've got to do big. I haven't done enough. I'm telling you right now. I can't wait till I get the right people and right investment to build something bigger, so I can just, I don't want to say crush the competition, but I don't want eggs and dairy in our foods anymore at all, ever. I don't think I'll ever see that throughout my lifetime unless I live about 200 years, which, hey, I could live 200 years as long as I stop eating cookies, so many cookies.
You are fine. You keep eating those cookies. You seem to be doing well with them, right? You're doing good. So I love it. And what I guess so we can finally let you go because I went way over your half hour time. I apologize. I was like, if we run a little over, I do apologize. I think you're so interesting though. I can't stop asking these questions. This is the last thing I'll do, though, unless there's anything you want to add. I just want to say, is there one main message you want to put out there, or anything you want to tell us about you that we haven't yet, or anything you want to say in closing? And no, I do want to thank everyone that came too. Thank you guys so much. We had a great turnout. I mean, cookies bring in the crowd.
Yeah, you know what? It's all because they want a cookie, because that happens all the time. People are like, where's Rey Ortega? Does he have people everywhere I go? People think, do you have cookies on you?
You got them in your pocket, don't you?
Sometimes I do. I'll admit it, though. Sometimes I do, but not all the time. But no, I think that self-control is numero uno when it comes to changing anything in yourself. You know, you have to find, and I always say the fasting thing has been a huge ordeal for me recently, because fasting is the spirit telling the body who's in charge. And I think that spiritually, it's become more of a spiritual journey for me now. I'm on a little bit of a different level now that it's been 30 years. I think I'm looking for something more to inspire me even greater, oddly enough. But I think that having self-control is numero uno. That's what I think, that in all things that you do, emotional, physical, anything that you when you want to put your mind to something, you have to have control over everything else. Those are my last words.
I love it. Thank you so much. Muriel, thank you. She said this has been sweetly great. Muriel said that's awesome. Michelle, thank you so much for coming. And Tessa, I think, yep, the products. Yes, I read that. Oh, and woohoo, no cardboard. Tessa, thank you for being here. Michelle, Muriel, I think I got, the Realist McCoy was here earlier. I saw him. JJ Video Reacts, thank you for coming. And also known as Dawn, of course, my co-host, who's here sometimes, but she had her own show this evening. So I think I got everybody here. And Sandra, thank you for joining us. I didn't think I would see you here, but I know it was lovely talking to you, and thanks for helping us organize all of this. Yeah. And Ray, the man of the hour, the mad cookie man, who I called the compassionate cookie man, because he's doing such great things now that he's over a lot of his anger. He is now a compassionate cookie man. I'm changing it. Oh, Mona, thank you. I just saw Mona. Thank you. I was like, at the same time, Michelle, you and I had that thought. I'm like, Mona, that's where I'm missing. All those M names, right?
Yeah, I love them all. Thank you guys for all showing. I mean, I'm like, wow, I'm so impressed by this whole thing. I'm grateful that people.
I'm grateful for you joining us and for giving us so much of your time. I know you're busy and you probably got cookies to make and cookies to sell and
eat.
And eat. Yes. I was trying not to tempt you. Thank you so much, Ray. I'll go ahead and thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Everybody go check out sunflowerbaking.com.
Thank you, guys.
I like this time. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye-bye.